Hey everyone, future Greg here. If you missed part one of this massive Frieren episode featuring Holopiece, go check it out as we are picking up where it left off in part two. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome everyone to the show.
Hi friends, welcome to the Anime Book Club podcast. I'm your host, DJ Montague.
And I'm your host Greg, and here we review anime from classics to brand new stuff, hidden gems, and controversial favorites.
You'll hear all of our hot takes, rants,
and genius observations. So thanks for tuning in, and buckle up because the episode starts now.
By the way, friends, these episodes contain spoilers, so be careful and don't ruin this anime for yourself. You've been warned.
Frieren Season 1 sits at 9.2 on my anime list. Season 2 sits at 9.15. So, I think pretty much like our explanations more or less should reflect the positive reviews. So I think we can skip the positive. And do you just want to hit us with a couple negatives?
Sure. A couple of these are from Reddit. A couple of these are from my anime list. And I'm going to go through them as paragraphs real quick and kind of truncate what I can. And then have Dave kind of, if you were to talk to somebody that was saying this and you had like a sit-down conversation with them, what would you say? First review is, if you like fast-paced action, then yes, it's overrated. Second review, Frieren doesn't have its own unique style in any way. It just feels like every other fantasy / isekai, and I know it's not an isekai, but it certainly feels like it in a lot of ways. The characters are very uninteresting and forgettable. The OST is more of a generic things I've heard, and the directing is very basic and boring. The world is also uninteresting and forgettable. It's ironic how the only intriguing location is one we never get to see on screen in a whole anime, the North.
They must be talking about season
Third
1. But yeah.
And then TLDR, 5 out of 10. I don't recommend this for anyone that has standards and enjoys a fantasy world that tells you from the very beginning at least some of its rules. A good or at least somewhat decent power system, not made on the spot spells for whatever the author needs of them. Well-explored themes, complex characters, or intriguing dialogue. This anime could easily be described by saying it is mediocre and generic, and it has no reason to be as popular and praised as it is. And then the last one I have here is Frieren Beyond Journey's End is unethical because it has no qualms about portraying demons as inherently flawed, despite the fact that they showcase intellect and empathy that is on par with humans on numerous occasions. Nevertheless, elves who are implied to be unable to empathize are given preferential treatment simply because they pose no threat to humans, which in itself is a contradiction. The above mention seems to indicate that Frieren is not actually about time and change, but rather seeks to promote anthropocentrism and communism. What the fuck?
You don't know what communism
Hold on,
means.
hold on.
Right.
So my first knee-jerk reaction was anger, and I'm sure Dave probably feels the same way.
He had his fists balled up. He was going to fight this guy.
But let's try to be understanding.
Respond to that last guy last.
Go ahead, Dave.
I am curious. You said you pulled a lot of these from Reddit.
A few of them from Reddit, a few from my anime list.
Can you, the ones from my anime list, can you click through? You can click through on their name
and see what they've actually
profile.
Rated as good. And
what are they rating 10? What are they rating a 10 out of 10?
Let's pretend this was at a con or something. Like you don't have access to their stuff.
I'm going to do what I would say because I'm a normal human being with like empathy. And
few of their favorites is Death Note. One is Initial D, JoJo's. Let's see, and this is Kaiji Ultimate Survivor, The Legend of the Galactic Heroes. What they enjoy.
That's so interesting. You like old stuff and you don't like any of the new stuff. I get it. It's so cool to only like anime from the 80s.
The second person was Gintama, JoJo's, Hikaru no Go. Holy shit. These are all throwbacks. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Hunter, old one. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. That I understood. Like I would, so fucking frustrating. It's not a show for you. You should not watch it. It's unfortunate that you feel that way, but I like it. I like it for, my own reasons. What I would probably really want to say is you are fundamentally misunderstanding this material. And if you think this, I would expect that you like JJK for the flashing lights. And you're probably the one who rated a 10 out of 10 on the Maki versus the Sending Clan episode and a 0 out of 10 for the episode where they describe how they're going to go about the Colon game.
Thank you. Thank you. Someone gets it, Greg.
I don't point at me. I didn't say
listen,
anything like that.
I
I
Right.
was on a 3-hour episode with you.
I think I read the entirety of JJK. I watched every single episode. Just as a quick aside, I don't like that show. I don't like the manga. I can see why
Well,
people like it.
guys, I'll see you guys later. This show is over. We're going to cut that last part. It's the greatest show of all time. We'll see you guys next week. Anyways, go ahead.
In the context of speaking to people who have these like ideas of like anime must be this constant hype machine that must always give me the endorphins I crave from having a seizure from how much flashing lights and cool shit is on the screen. Frustrates me because it's kind of feeding into this idea that like it's not a serious medium when you have shows like this that have deep intellectual and emotional storytelling that has the consequence of amazing action set pieces because of it. Like if you're watching Frieren and all you can say is it's slow, it's droll, these characters don't do anything, nothing matters, but this one fight scene was really cool. You are just deeply misunderstanding this show and what it's trying to say. And your interaction with anime as a medium is purely, I want hype machine, I want cool shit on the screen, I want to feel like I can do anything at any given point because I am like the strongest character. I think that's what I would really want to say to some of these people.
I'm gonna go watch Solo Leveling
in real life. Yeah, I love Solo Leveling. I'm also not under the impression that everything I enjoy has to be a 10 out of 10. I can find the joy in the 5s, the 6s, the 7s. Not everything I have to like has to be perfect. Are there some perfect things that I enjoy? Yes. One Piece. But there are things that are just like, hey, I know it's not everybody's bag. I like the hype machine, but I have no misunderstanding that that's why I like it.
Thank you.
I think that that's the most important thing is that we watched flawed media because we as humans are flawed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't watch Luffy's journey because you're like, oh man, I can't wait for this overpowered character to just beat the shit out of the entire world. You're watching this flawed character who literally from, okay, again, outside perspective, understanding.
Chat's freaking out, by the way, about what I've been saying.
You're watching a flawed character go through the world and expand their own understanding of the world from what limited journey they had before to how am I helping like near like island governments be toppled so that these people can be free. Like he wants to do good and wants to do right by people, but there's more than just that notion in his motivations as he grows as a character. And I think that a lot of what ends up happening is it boils down to, like I said with the JJK episode, and I was going through like talking about the reviews, sometimes this shit ain't just, it just ain't for you. And sometimes you don't have to be this arbiter of understanding, but there are people that have those opinions on those shows, and maybe you are an arbiter to them, but it ends up becoming this weird almost amalgamation of like what is your true feeling on the show versus what is just for clicks, what is monetarily incentivized for you to get people to do whatever you want. Like, I'm going to give Frieren a bad review because I want people to click on this episode and comment on it so that, you know, we've got a lot of engagement.
It's the IGN. Like, I take whatever IGN says at negative, at reverse face value.
Right.
Like, if IGN is telling me that this is the best show alive, it is probably not that great, and they are probably just trying to be controversial.
A lot of what IGN's become. And a lot of what human nature has evolved into. Rage baiting is so much more lucrative than being altruistic and being understanding and empathetic because it's just easier to get clicks in that regard. We could literally sit here and be like, all these other animes that we've watched, like Failure Frame being a prime example, are like the pinnacle of isekai and all this stuff, and Frieren's this garbage show.
Yeah.
But in reality, that's not being true to ourselves. That's just being the rage baity bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think most of my friends would say that they don't understand my taste in anime, because like I'm not trying to be this like arbiter of like perfect taste in anime. Like I said, I like One Piece. I like Food Wars. I like Reincarnated as a Slime. I can find the joy in Bleach that you guys just don't seem to find.
But I mean, you're not giving them all 10s, right?
No, I'm not giving them all 10s. I mean, they're 10s to me, right? But like objectively, they are not 10.
That's the important thing here, where I feel like a lot of the times when people review, and this is why I had to create this scale for myself, because I did feel myself being like, I really like this anime. This is a 10.
Yeah.
But then if I don't like an anime, it's a 0. There is no play. Because, I mean, same with me. It's just, I like Chain Soldier. Is it a 10? No. I like massage anime. Is it a 10? No, it's not a 10. But I like it. Like, my personal feelings are.
It's an 11, obviously.
No, yeah, you're right. You need to understand, like, there's multiple aspects. Well, I think, to me anyway, I feel like there's multiple aspects that make something like a 10 or not. And like there's animes that have like really good animation. I don't agree with the story, but I know it's there. Like the character development, I think it's really shitty, but I understand that
we had that.
You can't say that to Dave, but
what?
Just fucking joke. I was just joking.
Did you just diss One Piece at me?
No, he dissed Uma Musume.
Oh, how dare you? My daughter is into Uma Musume. I remember like one of the first times, like when Greg and I started like really hanging out. One of the first conversations we had was about Bleach. And I was like, I hated Bleach for so long because I thought I had
Thousand Year Blood War?
No. That's when I started liking it again, believe it or not. Because I liked it, and then the main story ended, and then they had that whole Fullbringer bullshit, which was just like it was just Shonen Jump forcing Kubo to like write more. It's like, wow, we ended the story, but like it was such good selling that we need more.
Right.
And then Thousand Year Blood War was like, this is cool again. But the first time I ever fully participated in an anime convention was at a show called JFAX. That JFAX is a con in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I went to school. It used to be like the con for the school. It wasn't like this international, like national thing that it is now. It was just the students put it on and we just had people over. So I had a panel shitting on the character development in Bleach and how he was just a Mary Sue and he had all the powers and everything just falls into place for him. And all his hard work is off screen, if at all. But me and Greg were talking in our friend's basement and I'm like, I love Bleach. It's just hype shit. I love every moment someone says Bankai and
that shit goes hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Like if I could watch Senbon Sakura a bunch more times and still be fine with it. But at the end of the day, as a person that views it I have to be objective about it. I have to recognize that there are so many parts that it's missing to me. But still, it is a hype machine.
Yeah.
Fucking that show goes so hard. I wish other characters would win some fucking fights. God damn it, Chad.
I wish Ichigo would win some fucking fights, bro.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
He loses like 50% of his most important battles.
Yeah, he's not doing really great.
Yeah.
But Orihime will come by and just be like, oh, man,
I'm gonna suck the pain off of you.
Yeah, like, oh, my clothes just keep
literally her power is the pain
every
away.
Season. Oh, no, her other power is to create an elevator with her fucking beret or whatever the fuck, and they fly around and shit.
Remember when Bleach was about, like, the implications of how we treat the dead and not just, like, whatever bullshit was happening by the end of
No, dude, don't get run over by the cleaner soul train, dude. You're going to be deleted forever.
Do you remember that?
But it's actually pretty good. I'm actually very excited for Bleach's Hell arc, which is supposed to happen.
Are they actually going to do it?
They keep threatening to, and I'm waiting for it.
Threatening.
Because I think it's going to go back to its roots, because Bleach at its roots at the beginning was about a story about like how we treat the dead. The Hollows got created from people who were treated poorly and treated poorly in death. And the Hell arc is supposedly going to be about how they kind of like didn't learn that lesson with their captains. They burnt up their bodies and sent them into the ether. But they should know that the ether probably doesn't exist and is probably another plane, and they're going to have to deal with those consequences, which I like. I like a show where there are consequences.
I feel like Bleach failed on the consequences for so long, including in Thousand Year Blood War.
Oh yeah, I mean there was a decent amount of consequences. The death of Yamamoto, for instance.
there's so many other captains that are super, super dead.
Yeah.
By their own standards, and they're like, well, we could bring them back. And it's like, it's almost like the Dragon Ball Z, I'm gonna wish them back with these Dragon Balls type shit. You know what I mean? It's like the consequence of death is not really there. But if they actually killed these characters and then brought them back for the Hell Arc and had them have like, if we get to see Geen again, that's gonna be so fucking sick. Because like he actually had a realistic storyline, died, and then you come back in Hell and you have he's like mournful that he didn't get to spend time with what's her name, and he spent his whole fucking life chasing after Aizen and trying to kill Aizen.
Yeah, so, a special one chapter like thing for the beginning of the Hell arc that got released a couple years ago,
right?
And you see Ukitake's sword come out of the Hellgate, and they're like, that's some hype shit. Like, holy fuck!
Right?
They forgot that when they killed the most important people, their souls needed to go somewhere.
And then, also the one, the guy that's the Arankar, their scientist guy, that gets stuck in the time loop from that Captain Mayuri. Yeah, him being there, that's gonna be good. Like we get some back and forth between them maybe, but like Mayuri to me is just like a device for regenerating fucking Kenpachi so he could do more hood rat shit. And it's like anyways, we could talk about Bleach for the rest of our lives too.
I know, yeah. I'm trying not to interject because we're just gonna keep going.
There's a lot of stories where like action happens because action needs to happen. JJK action needs to happen because they need to destroy cursed spirits. Bleach action needs to happen because they have to kill hollows. And in shows like Frieren and shows like Reincarnated as a Slime, the action happens as a consequence of these people trying to get through to their goals. Frieren wants to go to Ende to see Himmel one last time. That goal has the consequence of needing to fight through the Northern Plateau. In Slime, Rimuru wants to create this like grand, peaceful world, and the consequences of that is that people aren't going to take, other countries are going to look at that and think he's trying to take over the world violently. So they're going to respond with violence. So he has to protect himself. That's the kind of consequences that I think Frieren shows, is that like we don't killing for killing's sake, fighting for fighting's sake is not necessarily the right thing. And I guess to tie it all back, that's, the person who's talking about like the demons are just killing machines and they're pro-communist is just deeply misunderstanding the idea of the story that, the consequence of the demons evolving the ability to speak is that they're just going to use it to continue what they wanted to do already, which is kill and eat humans. They're not going to just like suddenly gain sentience, and also the idea of ethics.
I mean, that's a great point of any of these stories. When you look at like both sides of it, as an outsider, I could see that they have human features, they have language, they have dialogue. Like some people just want to watch the world burn. Now, can you always reason with them? Probably not.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point, is that Frieren is on the far spectrum of I cannot reason with them ever. And I'm going to mercilessly destroy them.
Yeah.
And there are people like this reviewer who's on the other side of it. He's like, dude, like we could see them, like he's the humans in the situation. We could probably talk to them. They could talk to us.
There's
like, I have empathy and sympathy.
But
I could probably talk to them.
if that reviewer watched Frieren at all, they literally have example after example of a character thinking that exact same thing and then showing what happens.
There is an entire episode based around the fact that a demon came into a village and pitied these people. And if Frieren's like, nah, we got to kill this bitch. And even Himmel was like, but she's begging and asking for her mother, and it's so sad, and we should just like give her a chance. And she goes, we can try. You're the hero. You're the leader of the party, and all the town.
She basically said like, that's a fucking terrible idea, and it's gonna end in fucking ruin. But if that's what you want to do, like fucking let's do it. And then
they do the whole thing, and then she kills the village chief and her family to give that family's daughter to somebody else. And the whole point of the story was like, well, why did you ask for your mother when we were going to kill you and you were just going to do it? She goes, well, I mean, the last time I tried to kill somebody, they were begging for their mother. So I just thought that's what people do when they're about to die.
Even the other demons are like, oh, I have a child, like, oh, don't kill me, right? And then they're like, oh, we just know that if we say this shit to humans, they won't kill us. So
Yeah.
we just say it because we know that it will have an effect that is positive to us. And we don't actually believe it. We don't even know what the fuck it means. We don't
Yeah.
even know what a mother is. We don't know what a child is. We just say
Right.
it because we know humans will react to it. And that's why we do it. And then after they react, we just kill them.
Yeah. It's psychopathic tendencies and sociopathic tendencies brought to the screen.
I would argue it's not even that, because sociopathic tendencies implies that there's a baseline normality
Yeah.
that is
Yep.
not that
True.
in demons. And this is the instinct of animals is to kill and eat.
And survive, right? So they
and
say
survive.
it because they know it increases their survival rate.
Yeah. And then
Right.
there's a show going on right now called The Darwin Incident, which I am very much enjoying, despite the fact that it features like a very, very difficult couple episodes to watch. But the most recent episode we talked about, like, well, you're a chimpanzee who can talk. Like, why don't you want to like interact with humans? Darwin answers like, well, just because I can talk doesn't mean I'm a human. Doesn't mean I
Yeah.
feel the way you feel. It just means I can talk.
Yeah.
These people just have a fundamental misunderstanding of the content that they are ingesting, and would be better off with their flashy solo leveling level depth of stories.
I'm glad you recognize that Soul Leveling's depth of story is a puddle. So
Yeah. I think that the adaptation leaves a lot from the manhwa that I think brings out more of the depth, but it doesn't sell tickets, doesn't sell subscription services. There are certain things that I think are better portrayed in the comic, but also that they don't exist in the anime. And if you've only ever seen the anime, I can't exactly blame anyone for not thinking that it's got a depth.
Okay. So, and I'm an anime only watcher. So that's probably
Yeah.
why that happened.
I can't be like, anyone who has a bad opinion of Solo Leveling needs to sit down and read the book for all 15 volumes.
Moving on from Frieren and Bleach and Solo Leveling, we move on to our guest, Dave.
Me?
So to get to know Dave better, I have a couple interview questions for Dave. And they're nothing crazy, nothing bad. But first question, what initially got you into anime, and how long have you been watching anime for?
I mean, when I was 8 years old and watching Dragon Ball Z on the TV, like not knowing it wasn't an American product. Does that count as watching
It does
anime?
count. Because
Okay.
I guess it's more of like why did it draw you in? Not necessarily because it's anime. I mean, you did watch anime even though you didn't know it was anime at the time. But like why did those shows and that style draw you in particular? Because you could have easily just changed the channel and watched something else.
Oh, that's it. My entire life been a content consumer. Like I'm watching it's like Saturday morning. I'm watching Mummies Alive. I'm watching Gargoyles. I'm watching the Animaniacs, and I'm watching Toonami at night.
Biker
Right,
Mice from
like-
Mars.
Yeah, I just watched stuff. I consumed every piece of media I could find. I read thousands and thousands of books. I've watched 100,000 TV shows, seen a million movies. I am just a content consumer. I don't know if I necessarily was like, I liked anime. I think I just liked that there was something on. And I don't think I made like the specific choice to watch anime until I was maybe in my like 20s, because like I've never seen Hunter x Hunter. I've never seen a bunch of shows that are like seminal to this idea of watching anime that I've just never seen, because it was like in this area where I was like 16 to 22, where it was like it just wasn't cool to watch anime anymore, and I needed to be the popular kid and all this bullshit. And I didn't like until I wised up and was like, oh, I can do whatever I want and still be the cool kid. So about like 2023 is when I like made the conscious decision to like, I'm going to start watching anime again. And what drew me into it was, by that point, I was 8 years into studying Japanese. I had lived there for a cumulative like 6 months already, over a few summers. And it was just something I'd been exposed to tacitly for so long that like someone at one point was like, hey, you should watch this. I think it was like Black Lagoon or something like that.
Banger.
And
I
I was like,
wouldn't call it a
okay, yeah,
banger,
I'll
but
give it
yeah.
a try. I like Black Lagoon,
Like,
so I'm going to watch Monster. And like just went down the road of that. And then
The first time someone recommended Monster to me, and we will just call him an asshole forever now, because who introduces someone to Monster and is like, it's such a well thought out show, but it's so good because it's harrowing. Like,
Oh,
it's such an
okay. Oh my
intense
God.
show. No. I wasn't going to say it's bad. No, it's an incredible story. But
I
like,
heard
I'm
Faro,
like
and I go,
15.
I thought you were going to go with horrible. I'm like, huh.
I remember my buddy was like, Naruto's sick, but you should watch Monster. And I was like, okay.
Why is this blonde German boy so angry?
Yeah. Why is New Hitler so Hitler-esque? What's going on?
So what elements does an anime need to have for you to be considered like a 10 out of 10? And then give us an example of a 10 out of 10 anime for you, and then give us an example of like a 1 out of 10 anime.
Oh, I got a 1 out of 10 anime for sure. I mean, let's be very, very, very clear. I think One Piece is a 10 out of 10 anime. I think it deserves every minute of runtime and more, even though, like, I wish some of that runtime was different and better used. One Piece, easily 10 out of 10 anime, but that's the boring answer, right? It's in my name. Y'all know it. You know, we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna talk about the other show that I've put on my body permanently, which is Reincarnated as a Slime. That is probably one of my other 10 out of 10 shows, to me, at least. I really enjoy it because, as I talked about before, like, it is a overpowered main character isekai. But the point of the show is not for him to beat up all the bad guys and be the strongest thing you could be. The point of the show is he has gotten this chance to live a second life, and he tries to use his knowledge and his power and authority to create a world where everyone can be happy and prosperous. It starts with just, you know, the people he meets, and he, you know, defends them, and all of the action and all these battles and things where he has to like use his overpoweredness come as a consequence of striving towards the goal of a peaceful world for himself. He leaves the cave and meets Veldora, and the first people he meets are the Goblin tribe. And to save the Goblin tribe, he has to defend the goblins against the direwolves. And then once that happens, he has to defend against this encroaching group of Oni. And then, you know, he gets kind of conscripted into their battle because they're not pitiful, but like they're so like desperate that he's like, I want to help them. So he's going to conscript himself in their war against the orcs that are, you know, the 200,000 orcs that are marching towards his village in an effort to like satiate their hunger. All of this, you know, the action of these intense battles is just a consequence of him trying to do the right thing. You know, it's not like Shield Hero where like the action is the action. There is some meaning behind it, but it's not like he's fighting to destroy the Spirit Turtle. He's fighting to destroy the Phoenix and all these things. Like, there are the goals that he has that are given to him are battle. So that's why I like Slime, and I really like a nice world building and a magic system that, admittedly, especially in the light novel, we're about to be finished with the light novel, has gotten supremely out of hand. Like, we're talking like, oh, there's magicules, and then in those magicules there's, you know, spirit particles, and the spirit particles are composed of data particles, and the data particles are composed of even smaller particles that can control the time-space continuum, and if you can recognize that, you can do whatever you want. Like, it's out of control. But
I was going to say, Slime has how many more volumes for the light novel do they have planned?
That's done. 23 is the last one.
Okay.
And it's already been...
It's planned as the final volume for the series by the author, but pending it extends its parts, but now 23 has been announced. Okay, I gotcha. Okay.
So they have finished it. I think it was supposed to be 21 or 22 eventually, but then it was like, he was like writing out the story. He goes, I can't think, like, this book would be like 3 times as long as a normal light novel. And then I think the Kodansha like saw like yen symbols in their eyes and were like, we can get 3 times the profit out of this one story. Let's go.
Yeah, that's the first time anyone told me about like YouTube videos. I wanted to put together like a 45-minute breakdown of like all these different classes in Lost Ark. And he was like, why don't you cut that into like 28-minute videos of each class? And anybody could just piecemeal what they want to watch. And I was like, why would I do that when they could just click wherever they want in the video? And he's like, money.
Yeah.
You idiot.
And also, you don't get the whole view if people click 8-minute point and only watch for 2 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. The 1 out of 10 anime. Something that I often do this. It is very rare that I do this, but I dropped this show on episode 8 of 12, and it is...
You were pretty deep in there. That's
I was
3 hours of content.
Yeah,
I'm
liked
fucking done.
This show, and then it shit the bed so historically that I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to watch the rest of this. It's called The Day I Became a God. And it premises this idea that this young girl shows up and has this like insane foreknowledge of like, hey, this is like, I'm going to die in 20 days. And you are about to stub your toe on this thing or whatever. And he's like, that's so funny. And then like she keeps like being able to predict stuff. And it's like, wow, like, oh my God, you may actually be like a god. She goes, I've been telling you I'm a god this whole time, you fool. And then it's like this nice little show about how she's, trying to help the people around her. And in episode 8, they reveal that she wasn't a god. She was just a terminally ill little girl, and they implanted this supercomputer into her brain. And she wasn't foreseeing the future. She was just doing massive calculations and like microseconds. Like she could look at a ball rolling down the cliff and know that 15 years from now that would cause a landslide or whatever. It was some cool shit. And then the very next episode, they took the chip out of her brain, and they spent the next 3 episodes where it was just going to be the main character taking care of a dying invalid girl, and nothing that happened before mattered. And they weren't going to explore the idea of this supercomputer god that they implanted into a girl any further. Yep, that's what I did.
No consequences.
No consequences. Just pure fucking fumble.
Synopsis of some of these episodes as well. You explained it, and then I was reading the plot summary, and I'm already annoyed because like godhood shows for me are like self-insert stuff, and like it's along the lines of like solo leveling to me, but I'm not a big isekai person. So I would watch this and then I would probably have the same reaction, but I would probably have watched it, like got into it and just been like, Greg, why did we watch this show? And then Greg would have to talk about how cool it was.
Yeah.
No,
it's even worse because it wasn't episode 8. It was episode 10 that I stopped watching it. There were 2 episodes left, and I said, fuck this shit. I don't want to watch another 40 minutes of this bullshit.
Damn.
Well,
I remember reading the synopsis. He goes, nothing changes. The end of the last sentence of the end of the last episode synopsis is, Yota decides that no matter what hardships they may face, he will continue to be by Hina's side. He is just going to hang out with a Helen Keller dying girl for the rest of his life, or her life.
I mean, Helen Keller did a lot.
Like Helen Keller, but wasn't even ambulatory.
So does she have brain function?
Nope. That's what the supercomputer chip they put into her did.
So
She is just like in a chair.
Right.
Well, last question I have for Dave. Have you noticed any trends in anime/the anime community lately that either push anime forward and encourage new viewers, or detract anime as a whole and push new viewers away?
I think both are happening simultaneously. I think anime
It's like purple, dude. Push and pull.
Yeah, fucking just like hit me with that. So that's the thing. I can rip on JJK because I've consumed the entirety of it, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not just like sitting here after watching 2 episodes being like, it sucked. I didn't like it. Just the sheer facts, like they are doing releases of anime films in American cinemas in Japanese with subtitles for shows that when I go to see them, I am maybe 80 to 95% of the time the only person in the audience.
Yeah, I've been to those too.
Yep. Like the Reincarnated as a Slime, the first movie, I was the only person in the audience. Spy Family Cold White, admittedly, I did see that at like 10 p.m., but I was the only person in the audience. And I expect when I see the new Slime movie, Tears of the Azure Sea, I will also be the only person in that. The fact that they are putting these movies on American screens, and, like that, it just could be something that somebody sees and is like, I want to watch that movie. I have nothing better to do. I'm, some 50-year-old man, whatever. I'll watch that. I think they've made anime as accessible as it's ever been to the most amount of people. It's Crunchyroll, as meh as they have been, puts out animes day one with 8 different subtitle languages, and I think like 3 or 4 different dubs in different languages. And it's with the advent of shows like Attack on Titan and JJK, and we're finally, I think, seeing people who are like our generation and our age and a little older being popular people. Like Michael B. Jordan is on The Daily Show, or Conan O'Brien talking about how he loves watching Naruto. Like the coolest people in the world are going on TV and saying how they like anime.
Megan Thee Stallion too.
Megan Thee
She loves
Stallion
JJK.
has it in her songs. She has like 3 songs that have anime references, and I have literally had conversations in my DJ booth about how fucking awesome that is
Mm-hmm.
with people that have never ever seen anime ever.
Yeah, her lyric is like, Gojo, come get this purple wop. I'm pretty sure is one of the lyrics.
That is not at all, but Greg, good try.
And
She
those
says,
were certainly a bunch of words that she's probably said at one point.
one of her lyrics was, I'm a wild fox looking for a Sasuke.
Yeah.
Different, but yes, same, Greg.
Mm-hmm. Same, but different.
I'm doing it.
You doing it.
I didn't know Megan Thee Stallion was actually here. It's crazy.
Thank you, Greg.
I think anime is more accessible than ever. It's more openly talked about than ever before. I think that's doing the most good, even if they're talking about shows I don't like and shows that maybe aren't the best to introduce people to anime. I don't think someone's first anime should have been Attack on Titan, frankly. I think it's certainly not my favorite show to any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of just like so like extreme. And this is what I think is being bad for anime recently, is that we are like, if 50% of the people's first experience with anime who are into anime now was Attack on Titan, and they think that that's all anime can or should be, that's bad. And this is a medium with infinite possibilities, infinite storytelling capabilities, and to kind of dumb it down to flashy action, go bang, big fight sequence every other episode is, I think, a disservice to anime as a medium as a whole. And I think ultimately a disservice to people who would otherwise enjoy anime, if not for now, if they say they like anime, they're going to have 100 people saying, well, what did you think about Attack on Titan? Who's your favorite Titan? Who's your favorite fucking core member?
Levi, got you.
Fair.
I'm sorry.
He's got the only good story.
Yes, he has the only story in the story.
Yeah. Because they don't want to have those conversations with the kind of people that are going to have those conversations. They're going to miss out on some amazing stories like Frieren, or some of these even like crunchy, hippier stories like The Fragrant Flower Blooms of Dignity. So I'm just like scrolling through my list of animes, and I'm just like naming the ones that I think are good. And if you're never going to get those people to watch things like Orb or Odd Taxi or A Place Further Than the Universe, because like the only people I know that like those shows are people who have maybe kind of a poor impression of Attack on Titan, but, you know, were into anime before Attack on Titan, so they didn't have to like kind of like get introduced to anime by that. A$AP Rocky, another guy who likes anime, who's very famous.
It always works every single time.
Yeah, 60% of the time it works every time.
Sex Panther is doing us a lot of good services right now. Anyways, A$AP Rocky's amazing. That's what I was saying. But I think that one of the downfalls of the popularity of anime is what ends up becoming popular is what is easily accessible. Now, I do think Attack on Titan has a good storyline, but that's my personal opinion. It's not for everybody, and I recognize that. But the whole point of what Greg and I were talking about originally was being able to recommend things for people that aren't just like as ingrained in the anime culture as we are. You can't just recommend Bleach to somebody. You can't just recommend One Piece to somebody. You know what I mean?
You can. I do it every day.
Okay, yes. But realistically, like, most people aren't going to be like, yeah, I need 1,180 episodes of something to watch. Should I get into this One Piece thing? You know what I mean? As their first anime?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
And the bad thing is some people do that. And then they're like, they get 100 episodes in and they're just like, I'm tired. I don't want to watch anime anymore, because is this what anime is? Just like,
well, that's why I was so hyped when they were doing the remake, and I was so hyped when they did the live action, and the live action passed muster. I pretty genuinely enjoy the One Piece live action. It's not the best adaptation of the source material, but I think it's going to get the most people involved. It is an English language adaptation of my favorite story, and the more people that get involved in One Piece, the better. But I have no expectation that, you know, watching 8 hours of a live action thing is going to make people watch 500 hours of an animated show, but at least they'll consume it in some way. But like, I agree, like, no one's going to watch 1,000 episodes of One Piece, just like no one's going to watch 12 episodes of Super Cub either. But I think a lot of people should watch Super Cub because it was an absolutely adorable show that for some reason tugged on every heartstring I have. And
That's
it's
the
about
best part about it, is that it's not like One Piece. You know what I mean? It's not like JJK. This is a different genre in this medium. People think that anime is like this one genre when it's like music. You can't just be like, yeah, Mozart and Zed are the same because they make music. It's there's so many more layers to it. Like a friend of mine a few months ago, we recently became like really close. But my recommendation to her about anime was like, hey, what have you seen before? What have you enjoyed? Like, what TV shows? And she's like, I like more grittier stuff, but I also want to be able to consume it and, binge watch something in a night. If I'm going to watch an anime at all for an extended period of time, I guess I would watch One Piece, but I like the action, but I want something more smaller and with the substance that I can consume. And I was like, why don't you try something like Cyberpunk? Do you like that style of anything with Cyberpunk in general, being the genre? And she's like, yeah, I've always thought it was really cool, the futuristic, like this. She watched Cyberpunk in a night and called me up crying afterward. And she's like, I fucking hate you so much, but I love that you made me watch that. That was such a beautiful story. And that's like not a traditionally like recommended anime to non-anime watchers. And while she was like dabbling her feet into it, this is like something she's now watching. Gachiakuta. She's now watching JJK. She's now watching like all this stuff that we talk about on the show.
Yeah, you got to get her on Doro, by the way. If she likes gritty, like action.
So, yeah, I was talking to her about that, but I haven't personally seen it, so I wasn't recommending it. But
I don't like how season 1 ended. I was super on board until like I think the last 1 or 2 episodes, and then I kind of got confused. I feel like it
got weird. It got real weird.
Yeah, they did something with the story that I was like I thought we were hanging out with Crocodile Head and the girl, and we were like high-fiving, but then at the end, it's just like, well, do they not like each other anymore?
It's not hypnotism so much as like a mind control-y kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's weird. Yeah. It's cool. I like it. But yeah, no, like it's so, and it's crazy because in theory, Attack on Titan is just as accessible as Super Cub. It's on the same service platform that you would have to get. If you want to watch Attack on Titan, you get Crunchyroll. If you want to watch Super Cub, you get Crunchyroll. But no one's like getting recommended Super Cub from the main page, or it's not being talked about on news programs.
It's being talked about here on the Anime Book Club podcast.
The only important thing. But everyone go watch Super Cub. It is just if you want to just like feel like feelings about a girl and her first motorcycle, like her first Vespa scooter, phenomenal.
Yeah, don't watch Touring After the Apocalypse with the Sero 225.
No, don't watch it.
Also, don't watch, which I could only imagine as a companion show of Touring After the Apocalypse, which was a Toa After the Tower or something like that. Toa no Yugure.
Thanks everyone for listening to this extended podcast episode of the Anime Book Club podcast. We weren't able to do any segues, but go check out it-aesthetics.com and get a shirt like this one I have on.
Hell yeah.
Also like this one.
And the one that DJ Montague has, and the one that I'll send Dave a shirt, so he has one.
Hell yeah. Just like the one I took a picture of you in downtown Detroit with. Hell
he
yeah.
did.
Yes.
Yeah, he had to edit my crotch because my pants were ripped. But
that picture goes hard, by the way.
Tab C10 at checkout for 10% off of your order, or Tab C5 for a stacking $5 off coupon off of any other deal that they have running at the time. Also, check out gamersups.gg and use promo code DJ Montague at checkout for 10% off of your order of caffeinated beverages or non-caffeinated beverages or snacks or mouse pads or canned beverages or t-shirts or snacks and noodles. Anything that you need to fuel like a winner. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you listen to podcasts at the Anime Book Club podcast. Also, check us out on the internet at theanimabookclub.com. You could also check out the Instagram at the Anime Book Club podcast, and also give Dave Holopiece a follow. Subscribe at Instagram at Holopiece, and check out all of his cosplay photography and his cosplay costume designing a la Gojo from My Dress Up Darling. And we got nothing else for you except the moral of the story featuring our guest, Dave.
Moral of the story is take it from Frieren. Take some time and smell the flowers, specifically the blue moon weed. And we are not 10,000-year-old elves. We do not get a chance to do this all over again just because. And my boy, Andy Bernard, the Nard Dog, said it best. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
100% agree. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And thank you, Dave, for being on this episode. This was absolutely amazing. I appreciate
this was so fun. I really appreciate it. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. You know, I was so happy that Greg asked me to do this with you guys. It's been a blast. I hope I get a chance to do it again. If you ever want an episode on One Piece, we can do another. We can pull a slime final volume and do a 3-episoder because I can talk about that shit for 10 hours.
No, I think a One Piece episode may be in the future. So we can, once you listen to the JJK episode, I think maybe we can do a One Piece episode where we just give our broken, warped understanding of the world of One Piece, and then you can explain how wrong we are.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
No notes. It's all up here.
We will sign off. And DJ Montague, tell them what time it is.
It's about 8:34 p.m.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys again. Greg, tell them goodbye.
Dave, tell them goodbye.
No, this guy.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I'm waiting for DJ Montague to say it.
Bye.
All right, goodbye.
Thank you, friends, for checking out the Anime Book Club podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
And if you don't want to miss the next one, follow us on the socials where we announce new episodes, content, and other cool stuff. You can also check out our anime list with our rankings and follow along with what we're currently watching and what we have watched in the past.
All the links are in the description. See you in the next one. Bye!